Welcome to the SOS Save Our Soccer channel. I'm Enzo Coppola and thank you for tuning in. The World Cup 2026 in America, Canada and Mexico is in full swing, and we've reached the quarterfinal stage of the tournament. And so far it's been very exciting. There's been some very good games, very exciting games, some boring games too, and also some incidents that are worth mentioning, which we'll get to later. But because it's fresh in the mind, I'd like to start with last night's game between Argentina and Egypt. Although I predicted Argentina to win the tournament, ultimately I did so before the tournament started. I was actually rooting for and shouting for Egypt. I really wanted them to win. So it was a very exciting game, and Egypt nearly pulled it off. They went ahead with one goal, beautiful goal, and they had Argentina on the ropes. Although Argentina did enjoy the majority of the possession, Egypt were solid in defense and they were well organized and always dangerous on the break. And they proved that with about 20 minutes to go. There was a breakaway, and they scored a beautiful goal after a flowing movement. Mr. Zico, I think it's Zico, yes, Mustafa Zico. He was fed by Mo Salah, and he scored a beautiful goal. And the referee didn't see anything. The referee let the game go. He gave the goal, and then guess what? VAR intervenes and called the ref. And little midget Martinez had his little toe stood on, poor guy, and he jumped up like he had been shot by a sniper and fell down. And because of that little touch, that was raised by VAR, the referee disallowed the goal. I think wrongly. This is a man's game, but some of the teams, and I must say one of the teams is Argentina, whenever they touched the lightest touch, they make a meal of it, and they always try and get a foul. And when things go against them, they're always moaning about the decision, challenging the ref. I wish they would do something about that. If they should take a leaf out of the rugby, there's no chirping back to the referee. When he makes a decision, it's final. But for some reason, soccer players think that they are more important than the game itself, and they keep moaning and throwing their arms around. But anyway, that goal was disallowed, and Egypt had the momentum, in my opinion, at that point. And it was a crucial turning point. Although Egypt did score their second goal 10 minutes later, and with only 11 minutes to go, Argentina managed to score 3 goals that saw them win 3-2. Much to the heartbreak of all the entire Africa, most likely, and all the Egyptian team. They had worked so hard and done so well. So I must say, well done to Argentina for showing the courage to do that. Perhaps there was a little bit of naivety on the part of Egypt in terms of their defending. But I still think that turning point with that goal that was disallowed was a crucial turning point. And I must say, one of the goals of the Argentina team, I think it was the second or the third goal, that there could have possibly been a foul in the build-up to that by an Argentinian player on an Egypt player. And VAR, they don't even bother to go check that. They're very selective about what they check, as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, it seems like, in my opinion, Lionel Messi is one of the most protected sportsmen in the world. You can go across any sport, and he is definitely the most protected player on earth. Let's take it back. Okay, he's done great. It was a great game. He scored some good goals. Well done to him. I'll take my hat off to him. Whether he's the greatest of all time, that's another matter for discussion at another time. But let's take it back to Argentina's first game in the tournament, the opening match against Algeria. What happened there? Messi rakes one of the Algeria players on the back of his calf blatantly, and he doesn't even get a yellow card. I think a foul was given, no yellow card. Any other player would have got a straight red. Any other player. That would have been a definite straight red. There was huge controversy about that afterwards. But during that game against Algeria, Messi scored a hat-trick. That was after that incident. So let's assume he should have been sent off like any normal person in the world, any normal player. He would have been sent off, no hat-trick, then he would have scored the goals for Argentina. Okay, fast forward another game. If he would have got a red, or the way he should have got a red, he would have missed the next game against Austria. And how much did Argentina beat Austria by? 2-0. Who scored the goals? You guessed it. It's Messi again. He scored 2 goals. So those 2 games were crucial. I'm not saying they wouldn't have qualified for the second round, but it could have had a huge bearing on how things went if he had been given that red card like he deserved. So that's why I say, come back to the point, he's the most protected sportsman on earth, because it doesn't matter what he does, everything's got to follow him. And it seems like even Gianni Infantino supports him and Argentina, because he was relieved after they beat Cabo Verde. That was also a very exciting game. Argentina beat them 3-2. And what a magnificent performance by Cabo Verde in the tournament. Really, it's amazing. It was really good to see that an African side can play with such courage, such heart, and determination and skill. Don't forget that. It wasn't just about defending. Because that second goal, Sydney Lopez Cabral. Did I get that right? Yes, Cabral. What a goal. That second goal, that equalizing goal for Cabo Verde against Argentina from the edge of the corner of the big box, and he curled it into the top corner to get the equalizer. Wow, what a goal. For me, that's the standout goal of the tournament so far. Together with Harry Kane's second goal against Congo, that was also a real striker's dream of a goal. So, yeah, it's coming to referees, okay? Not coming to referees, I've been speaking a lot about referees. Do we actually need any refs anymore? Do we actually need them? Why don't we just send the teams out, let VAR do its business, and referees can stay at home and watch the game on TV? Because if you look at they only do things when it suits them, when it suits their narrative. Let's take a couple of examples, okay? Jarrell Kwanzaa in the game against Mexico. Well, there was another game. What a match that was. England beat Mexico 3-2. Amazing. Before that, I had my doubts about England, whether they had the metal, whether they had the steel and the determination, the ability to go through or to do well. And that match has cancelled all those doubts. I think England are one of the firm favourites, even though we've got others like France and Spain and so on, Argentina. But England have really come to the fore there. And that was an amazing game. To lose Jarrell Kwanzaa so early in the game, effectively they played with 10 men for like almost an entire half, 40, 50 minutes. But that decision, for me, the referee didn't give anything. He didn't even give a foul on the field. Didn't even give a foul. And then the game carries on, and guess what? Yes, Mr. VAR calls the ref back and says, look at this. And he calls the ref to the screen and he shows him a still. Now, anybody's going to say, yes, of course, it's a dangerous tackle. But the referee is right there. You can see whether it's a dangerous tackle, fair tackle, or whether it's reckless. And he didn't give anything. So why don't they trust the referees? Now, what's actually happening is the VAR is re-reffing the games. It's like they don't trust the refs on the field. The other incident, in the same game, Harry Kane gave that penalty away against Mexico. That for me was never a foul. He might have tapped the guy under the foot, both going for a high ball, and the guy fell over, the same like the Argentinian players. They fall all over the place like they've been shot by a sniper. And he fell over, the referee bought it. No, he didn't, but the referee didn't actually give it. Then it was VAR. They called the ref back and said, look at that little touch. Look at that little touch. It's a catastrophe. You've got to give a penalty. And referees just don't have the balls to stand by their own decision on the field. They always get swayed by VAR. I think it's only happened once in this tournament where one ref actually stood by his ground and didn't give a penalty, and that was against, that was for France in the opening game when Mbappe tried to buy a penalty, and the ref said no after he was called to the screen on the side of the field. So do we need refs anymore? Is it going to reach a stage where referees are just, I don't know what they do on the field? Rather just send them out, send the players out, have a big loudspeaker on the side, say beep with a big hooter saying, okay, it's a foul, because VAR has looked at it. It's ridiculous. It's supposed to be a man's game, and referees need to man up, and they need to do a better job than they're doing. So, all in all, I think it's exciting. Yes, there have been some good games, and now we're into the quarterfinals. Who's going to take it? Who knows? I was a bit surprised that Switzerland went through against Colombia, but having watched that game, I could see Colombia didn't really have much teeth up front. They didn't have the cutting edge where they needed it the most. And obviously penalties, anything can happen. But I'm not going to venture any guesses from now on. I think there may still be one or two surprises. Who knows, But I think this World Cup is tailor-made for Argentina. It seems like everyone wants, when I say everyone, I mean FIFA, wants, beg your pardon, they wants Argentina to win. Is it an Adidas thing? Is it Adidas that it's got their little paw in the story here that wants to promote the teams that they support? Well, let's see. I don't want to go into any conspiracy theories now. But another talking point was actually quite ridiculous. That red card that was given to Folarin Balogun of America. The VAR, same story again. Called the referee and said, "Look at that terrible tackle," when they show still on the screen. Rightly or wrongly, whether it was a red card or whether it wasn't a red card, the red card was given. Okay, the red card carries a 1-game suspension. That's a rule. It's a fixed rule in the FIFA statutes, wherever you want, across any tournament, anywhere in the world at any level. You get a red card, you have to sit out at least a match. So what happens? A couple of days later, it wasn't even the next day, it was like 3 or 4 days later, the day before the match, next match that America was supposed to play, that red card gets rescinded. The story went around that Donald Trump phoned Infantino and there was a meeting and they bent the rules, especially for Donald Trump, which I think is nonsense. I mean, anyone could ask a question, can our player play, or can you let our player off and let him play? Everyone asked that question, but ultimately the law, the rules, and the law lies with FIFA. So the fact that FIFA buckled and said, yes, okay, let him play, they bent their own rules, and for me, the blame lies squarely on Gianni Infantino. I honestly don't know what he's trying to achieve by doing something like that. Does he understand there's things called precedent? Because now if a precedent has been set, can it happen again? I believe UEFA, via the Belgium Federation, Football Federation, actually lodged a written appeal to find out what the processes were to come to that decision. So it would be interesting to see what comes out of that. And but it was ridiculous. It brings the game into disrepute completely. I mean, and this is not what the World Cup needed at this stage. at the end of the day, Belgium won 4-1, so well, they weren't going away. They didn't have to go through all that palaver just to taint the World Cup so far. But let's hope we don't have any similar incidents going into the last few games, and it all looks very exciting. So like, share, and subscribe this channel, please, if you like it. And I look forward to seeing you again soon.